here. See how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Been a little while. Give it a minute or two, see if anybody joins in. If not, we'll just go right on through it.
Do it like normal.
Yep, just do it like normal. It's kind of spur of the moment kind of thing. So
that's how mine was. I was like, man, I got the house to myself for the night. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, we haven't done it in a little while. It's been busy, crazy. But it's hard when we just decide to do this. Like, oh, no, let's go live instead of just pre-recording it like always. So,
yeah.
We'll just give like another minute and then we'll get going.
But you got it going to all 3 channels, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah, we're gonna. Kenny's in the house. Macho, what's up, Kenny? Kenny, we're just giving it like a minute. We're gonna see what's up, man. How's everything going? You said you're at your mom's doing some Christmas stuff. We're giving it like a minute or so, see if anybody joins in. If not, we're just gonna continue on. That'll give me time to write this down, actually. Kenny's pics right here in front of me on my paper instead of on my phone. Kenny, if you just happen, if you can't stay, that's all good. I got your pics here, but if you change your mind during this and you're watching, then speak up. That way in the comments, and we will adjust accordingly.
We tend to do that a lot, as far as like somebody kind of sways somebody one way.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just you miss things, and the next person really kind of helps clarify shit for you. You pretty firm on your picks. Okay, he's pretty firm. He says
he must work out.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Look at the buns on that. All right, we'll just go ahead and get going. That way we won't waste a lot of time. Okay, so what is up, guys? If you're just joining us here, we are Macho Movie Madness. We haven't done this in a little bit. Kenny's in the comments. He's away from some family business, but he's in the comments. We've got his picks. We're going to do some Die Hard versus Lethal Weapon today to determine the ultimate Christmas action movie. And I'm pretty excited about these. These are 2 of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
For those of us joining, we've got it streaming across 3 different channels. Obviously, we're a conglomerate of yahoos. So we, this is Macho Movie Madness. This is kind of our thing here. We do the verses. But for those joining us on Drew Reviews, you've kind of got that same. For anybody joining because of Smith's Grove and me, we're not doing the horror just today. For today,
get a little bit different today.
We're going Christmassy in the spirit of Christmas, and this is 2 of our, I'd say all of our favorite Christmas movies, right? Especially action.
Yeah. I can't think of anything that'll top it. Although I did see the other day somebody had First Blood as a Christmas movie because they're in that police office. There's 2 Christmas trees.
Yeah, that's
it's probably a little thin, but
that's a lot thinner than this. You know, there's already people arguing over Die Hard, which is crazy enough.
yeah.
But Kenny says honestly, going into it, he's leaning more towards Lethal. But after analyzing everything, he ended up okay, all right. Well, we'll get into that here in just a second. But everybody joining us here, or anybody watching after the fact, just know, you know, the horror on my channel is coming back. We're going right back into Friday the 13th Part 3 real soon. But we wanted to do this in the spirit of Christmas, and it obviously falls into what we do as a whole. So
on Macho, we used to do a lot of horror, but it's kind of become an action channel in the last year.
Yeah, it really has more just been action than anything else. And Andrew at Drew Reviews, he does a lot of sci-fi and action, seems like more so, and he tries to do horror and just doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, you guys start watching and liking those, please. I'd like to talk more of it.
Yeah, we can't do horror over on that channel. So I took it over. So for those who may not have seen this before, which we did do this at Halloween for Halloween 2 and versus Halloween 4. But if you're just joining us for the first time, you've probably seen something similar to this before. Just basically pitting two movies head to head and seeing which was the winner. We have some categories. Obviously, the categories can sway one heavy, even if you might think one movie, or if we might think one movie is better than the other or enjoy it way more than the other. Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
So today for our categories, we've got story, setting, acting, action, best villains, which is a newer category, really. We don't do that one a lot, just every now and then Christmas vibe, because these are two Christmas movies, and I'll fight you to the death.
Yes, yeah. Here, I'm gonna pull a Chris Ramsey, taking my glasses off. Die Hard and Lethal Weapon are Christmas movies.
Absolutely. You staring into your soul, they're Christmas movies. So we're going to get into this just that way we don't waste a lot more time. Story, we're going to do story first, which, you know, like the first 4 categories here are really just basic for most of our versus videos. So story, do you want to take story first, Andrew?
I can, unless you just have a real compelling argument.
Go right ahead, take it.
Okay, for story, might be a little controversial.
Yeah, okay.
I want to go Lethal Weapon. I really like the story to Lethal Weapon. I was talking to my buddy Josh, shout out to you, beforehand, and we were talking about, you know, Die Hard is full of Christmas, you know, and I've got a review out all about how, you know, the symbolism and all the things, him going from the East Coast to the West Coast to be with his family on Christmas, all the Christmas songs and the symbolism there. But I love the fact you've got these two partners who have nothing in common in Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
And you've got Riggs, who is brought into the Murtaugh house and becomes kind of a surrogate member of their family, breaking racial barriers in the movie. And I kind of got goosebumps talking about that just now. I really hadn't thought that out till me and Josh had talked about it. But just how strongly I feel about Lethal Weapon and that story. You know, other than that, you look at Die Hard and, you know, it's you know, in a big skyscraper, and he's just trying to get past all of those terrorists. I don't guess they're really terrorists. They're professional thieves, is what
right.
But you know, you've got the whole story of the Shadow Company in Lethal Weapon. You know, with Gary Busey, Mr. Joshua, who's a great villain, and McAllister, General McAllister. I love that, and I love how these two cops with nothing together, one with nothing in common, one with a death wish, just, you know, how they interact. And so I'm gonna have to go Lethal Weapon on story.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna mark that down here. Yeah, so Kenny goes Die Hard on this one. I guess I'm gonna be the tiebreaker in this category. You know, I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from on that, Andrew. I really do. I think there's something about Die Hard that, man, I don't know. It's definitely more suspenseful. I think before that you didn't get. I mean, was there anything like Die Hard beforehand? I mean,
there probably was, but we're on the
seems
spot.
like everything seemed like more people copied Die Hard after the fact than Lethal Weapon. I don't know. I kind of lean in your way though. I kind of see that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Lethal Weapon on story just because of the.
I didn't expect anybody to back me on that one.
I kind of get that. I really do. Now there's going to be things where I'm going to be super Die Hard on.
Me too.
But I can give you story for that just because of the way you explain that.
Yeah. I love both stories, and I don't think there's a wrong answer there, as we say in a lot of these when we put them up against each other. But man, I think Lethal Weapon as a story is really underrated when you compare it to Die Hard, and I think it's right there with it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's hard to go wrong with one man fighting off these terrorists or these super thieves. Basically, he's the only one in between them and total just terrible shit. So I really do appreciate that. I really like that. I think it's very suspenseful. Kenny says that's a tough pick, and it is. But maybe because I mean you have the characters of him, and was it Holly was his wife?
Yeah.
You have that dynamic there, and obviously they're estranged. She's in LA now, he's still in New York. I like the dynamic between him and what's his name? Carl Winslow. I never can remember his damn name.
Sergeant Powell.
Yes, Powell. But I like this. I like the buddy cop thing, like you said, between Murtaugh and Riggs. It's just, and we discussed it a lot during Lethal Weapon 1 versus Lethal Weapon 2. Just that dynamic between those two, and I really enjoyed the story between those two. Obviously, you've got one who's just a family man who's towards the tail end of his career, and you got another one who's absolutely just insane, and they come together. Yeah, I'm just rambling at this point, but I'm definitely going to have to go with Lethal Weapon on that. I think you're right. I think it's more underrated.
Yeah. I think it's the underrated of the two, and any given day might give a different answer, but today I feel like it's Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, that's 2-1 in story for Lethal Weapon. So setting, I'm going to take setting first.
Go for it.
Setting, Die Hard, 100%, 100% Die Hard. Because go back to that isolated. The Nakatomi Plaza is so iconic. It's so ingrained in everything, and I think that just that, like I said, that you're stuck in one spot. Everybody copies this going forward. You're stuck in one spot. You've got one man versus these people. Love, which I mean, I guess they're both in LA, right?
Yeah, technically.
You've got more going on in Lethal Weapon, more areas, but I think just because it's so lean, you're just in this one place. I'm gonna have to go Die Hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in Lethal Weapon that I really like. That fight in the desert we talked about in that versus we did. I thought that was really good in the Murtaugh house, and some of the street chases. But there's nothing like Nakatomi Plaza, and so
if you're talking. If you're pitting up like Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, you can discuss all the unique the places that you go, and that makes. I don't think that same argument can be made here since there isn't that. I think so. You have to kind of go with what is more iconic.
Maybe? Yeah, that building is a character unto itself.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So just something so unique. I love it. I love it so much. I have to go Die Hard on this.
Yeah, and there's so many different places. The elevator shaft. When he's up in the air vents, going through those offices, on the roof. It is claustrophobic, but there is several different locales that he goes to on that, and just keeps it fresh. And
it is fresh, even though it's claustrophobic. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and you even got the parking area underneath with the limo driver who's stuck
Argyle.
down there. Yeah, Argyle.
What did Kenny say?
He said Die Hard.
Good job, Kenny.
Yeah, so Kenny's picked Die Hard on that one. So I guess all three goes Die Hard on that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're tied 1-1 so far. And I'm doing a bad job at this, obviously. I'm supposed to go setting here. But that's what I do. So I'll get it right this time. We'll go into acting. Who you got for acting on that? What do you got for acting?
I'm going Lethal Weapon on acting. A lot of it based on the performance of Mel Gibson in that scene, where he's got the gun stuck in his mouth and just the total despair.
Yes.
To me, there's nothing quite that good in Die Hard, although I do love Die Hard and all the performances there. But you actually feel it. And like I said in that other verses, is he actually crazy or is he just going after that crazy pension? So you just don't know, and you sympathize with Murtaugh in this having to deal with a partner like this.
Yes,
those two are great, working off of each other. You bring in the bad guys in this. Gary Busey is just diabolical as Mr. Joshua.
Yes, for sure.
Does such a good job.
Yes,
really like that character and the acting and the bit between him and Riggs. The cat and mouse with them and the fight there at the end. Really like it.
Yeah.
Die Hard's great. Love Hans Gruber. Alan Rickman's amazing.
Awesome. And everything.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite Bruce Willis performance.
Yeah, for sure, mine too.
Yeah, and I like Ellis in this. But no, I think I like Lethal Weapon just a little bit more in the acting category.
I'm with you there. I think Die Hard was great. I think, like I said, the suspense was there. Everybody played their roles perfectly. But when it comes down to that dynamic between Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, it's hard to beat that. Like you said, that scene where he had the gun in his mouth. He realized, him realizing that he's actually crazy.
Yeah,
and he has to deal with that. Like you said, we kind of sympathize with Glover in this role. I think you're right. I think it just edges it out, and Kenny even picked it too. So we just did another sweep for that category for Lethal Weapon.
That's cool. Yeah. That scene, I believe you talked about it in our other video, where he's got the hammer pulled back on the gun, and he's like, go ahead and do it, and he ends up biting Glover's hand with the gun. That's a great scene right there.
It's a very good scene.
Really
I think I might have said that in our verses too. How much I love that.
Yeah, that scene there in that storefront, just some awesome stuff.
Yeah. Kenny says being stuck in that building and having that constant presence of danger. Yeah, that golden. Yeah, I don't think you can beat the acting in Lethal Weapon between those two. How crazy is it? There's I don't know. I don't think there's been another buddy cop movie that I've seen that I've enjoyed the characters that much. And I like buddy cop movies, but I think it works the absolute best in the first Lethal Weapon movie.
What would be the closest for you guys in the chat? What, maybe Beverly Hills Cop? I don't know. I like these guys better than that.
I do too, for sure. Yeah, this is better than Beverly Hills Cop.
Better than Tango and Cash, I think.
Probably better than Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of any other buddy cop movie where it's that good. And there's a lot of them. And I like buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
So all right, well, I guess that's that, right?
Right.
So we move on to action. Lethal Weapon gets acting pretty easily. Kenny says Beverly Hills is great, but not as good as Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I'd agree. I'm kind of that rare guy. I almost like Beverly Hills Cop 2 as much as 1. Yeah.
And I almost like Lethal Weapon 2 as much as 1.
I know, I'm the same way for sure. Yeah. Beverly Hills leans a little more comedic. Yeah, it does. I think, I don't even know if it's intentional, it's unintentionally. Lethal Weapon's pretty funny to me.
Yeah,
probably unintentionally. Just him I don't really know exactly what they were going for, but like, the Mr. Sniper Sir and all that stuff. I get a kick out of all that.
It's
shit.
dark.
It's dark. It's maybe maybe it's dark humor. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Shane Black for you right there, the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
A lot of dark comedy. They had him on the set of Predator as Hawkins just in case they needed to rewrite some of that stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, he's Hawkins, the guy that tells all the vagina jokes.
Yeah. Right.
But
I know he.
As a writer, that's mainly what he was there for. In case John McTiernan, who oddly enough directed both that and Die Hard, needed a rewrite.
Okay. So what do we got for action? Did you take acting first?
I believe I did.
Well, Kenny takes Die Hard for action. I'll let him go first on that. So he took Die Hard for action. So what say you on action?
I will also take Die Hard on action. I think there's great action in both.
Yeah, I agree.
But there is just so much over the top action in Die Hard.
Yeah.
From that opening where him and I can't remember the guy's name. Now I've got a machine gun. Ho ho ho! Go down the stairs.
Yes.
And breaks his neck. From that point on, that movie's just
it takes off.
Yeah.
And walking on the glass and all the rooftop stuff. I think it might be a different conversation if we were talking Lethal Weapon 2 versus Die Hard.
Possibly.
Now, not to say that there might, because there's a lot of crazy stuff in Die Hard, but Lethal Weapon 2 had a lot more, and even 3 had a lot more action, I think, than the first one did.
Yeah.
So it might be a little bit different conversation.
I think when we did our verses, we put Lethal Weapon 2 over 1 in the action category, didn't we? It was like a clean sweep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. It's hard not to. It's just there's too much more going on in that movie between the car chases and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, Die Hard, easy win for Die Hard on action.
Yeah. What were your favorite scenes action wise in Die Hard?
Odd. I don't know. It's hard to say because I like more of the suspense driven stuff in that movie more than I do just like the overall action. It's not the same as like Commando where I can just gush over the goofy shit
stuff, throwing saw blades in people's
that stuff that I could. But like this one here is more of the suspense related stuff for me.
Yeah, like where he's hanging in the elevator shaft and jumps over to the other side. And
it's more stuff like that, and and obviously him trying to get what's his name's attention and drops the body out the window on the car.
Oh yeah.
Obviously
party pal.
All the stuff with the hostages was really good. I love all that, and Rickman was awesome in that movie. He was such a piece of shit in that movie.
So good though, dude.
Yeah, and the barefoot on the glass was crazy. I mean, that makes you feel for that dude so much.
Yeah.
Now I have a machine gun.
Yeah. I love Alan Rickman in that movie, and I think he would have been a perfect Bond villain back in the day.
Oh, for sure.
Around the time this came out, there was like a lapse in Bonds right there. So.
You would have had him in a Timothy Dalton movie though, and that would have been like, oh. It still would have been better than what we got in the Timothy Dalton movies, but.
And I like The Living Daylights, but yeah, it would have been.
I do like The Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, that moves us to the best villains. Speaking of, that's an old graphic there. Speaking of our villains, we're gonna go to the best villains category here.
You take this one. I'm thinking this one through.
Kenny says Lethal Weapon. I'll put that out there. I'm kind of thinking it through myself. This last half of the categories, I just thought I would wing a little bit because I wanted to talk it out.
Kenny says Hans Booby. I love it. I'm your white knight, brother.
Yeah. Hans Booby.
What a piece of crap! I love that character. Ellis is.
Yeah. I don't know. So I mean, who does it come down to? Is it just basically Mr. Joshua versus Hans in this, or
Mr. Joshua actually works for General McAllister, I believe.
Well, yeah, right. Well, right. But
Yeah.
I mean, but McAllister didn't have much going on like Joshua did.
Yeah, he was mainly just in that chase there at the end.
It was a big asshole.
Yeah, and then he burnt Joshua's arm in front of Edo Ross there. You guys are crazy.
Yeah.
He was more kind of the guy who didn't get his hands dirty. Joshua did all the dirty work.
Right.
You had some noticeable actors in there. Like there's a guy named, I believe you pronounce it Al Long. He's an Asian guy who's like Big Trouble in Little China. I just watched Rapid Fire.
He's in everything.
Riggs. There, he was in everything back then.
Yes, he was. He was always a henchman, evil henchman in all these movies back then for sure.
We just
always looked the same.
I Come in Peace, and he had a small role in that too.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he's in everything, and he looks the exact same pretty much in everything he's in.
Yeah, he's really good. What little bit he had to do, but those are really the only villains I can remember that kind of stand out in that movie. And then on the other side, on Die Hard, you have Hans Gruber. You've got Carl and his brother. Carl that wanted to kill him after the ho 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 thing.
Yeah.
The guy in the control room, the black guy, he was actually Cordell on Walker, Texas Ranger. The guy trying to break through the safe.
Yes, that's right. You're right.
I watched this a week ago, and I'm like, I know him from somewhere, and I looked it up, and that's what it was.
All about that.
I think I'm going to have to go Die Hard the more we talk about it.
Really?
Yeah. So you're going to be the tiebreaker, but I'm good with whatever. I like Mr. Joshua and all those other guys too.
I mean, I think the bad guy, other than Mr. Joshua, I think the bad guys seem a lot more serious, a lot more menacing in this situation. They have a lot more control over the whole situation until about maybe the third quarter of the movie. So I'm kind of leaning Die Hard myself. I do think Mr. Joshua is a badass though, and I think he's a piece of shit. And
you think about that whole scene there with Tom Atkins' character Hunsucker, where they're there at that point. He's at his daughter's funeral. She killed herself at the beginning of the movie, and while he's confessing, they pull up in that helicopter and just blow him away.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
I wanted to talk about that during acting too, and I forgot all about it. Tom Atkins' performance, he's grieving, but he's also super paranoid at the same time. That's another reason I wanted to give that to Die Hard. Tom Atkins is the man, the original panty dropper. He's a legend here on Macho Movie Madness.
That's right. We all love Tom Atkins here. Mr. Joshua is a psychopath. Kidding. Yeah, I mean he's definitely a psychopath. That's what I think. I think Mr. Joshua is probably scarier than Hans Gruber.
Yeah,
I think Hans Gruber just has his shit together more, which is also kind of scary because he is, and like I said, until the very end, until McClane was like really getting, like really like thwarting shit, like spoiling their shit. I mean, they were, I don't know. I think all together that whole group was pretty in tune.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of that's why I'm leaning that way. Just because that is a situation that you would not want to find yourself in if you were one of those people. I think it's still rough for me, man. It's rough for me. I don't know. It's Mr. Joshua. I mean, I would rather, even though Hans is probably a smarter dude than Mr. Joshua, I would probably take my chances with Hans over Mr. Joshua.
Yeah. Although Hans will just straight up shoot you in the head too.
That is true.
That's true. Tahashi and Ellis.
I mean, that's one thing you can't say about Hans is he got his hands dirty too. Like it wasn't like he was just making everybody do everything. He got his shit dirty too.
Yeah. Yeah, you could go either way here. I think I'm leaning toward Die Hard, but
I'm so torn, man.
You do you, man.
I'm torn for real. I don't know what to do here. Kenny, are you still firm on Lethal Weapon? I think he probably is.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Joshua. I have to say, I don't know, man. I have to say that's why I'm so torn, because Mr. Joshua is a true blue fucking bad guy. He's firm in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as like 80s '80s villains like that in an action movie. He's top tier, Mr. Joshua.
He is. I agree. I agree. He is more of a force for sure. I just the only reason why I'm so like hung up is because I can put myself in that position, like at that party more, and then you kind of get stuck in that position where you've got a bunch of crazy dudes who actually have their shit together.
Yeah.
At first, and then they're fucking blowing people away, and they're
gonna put you on the roof and blow up the roof of the building.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Man. Shit. I'm gonna have to go. Man, I'm gonna have to go Die Hard. I think. I think I have to go Die Hard.
Are you good with that?
No. No.
Kenny says that the two guys Hans killed were defenseless men, and they were.
I mean, I agree.
Ellis was coked out of his mind. He probably could have took down a whole force by himself.
Yeah.
He had no weapons.
I'm actually like torn here on this. I don't know what the fuck to pick. Yeah, Mr. Joshua is a bad motherfucker too. I'm gonna have. I think I'm gonna go Lethal Weapon. I'm gonna go Lethal Weapon. I feel like I'm gonna have to go Lethal Weapon on it a little bit. The situation in Die Hard I would not want to be in, but the thing is, I still feel like if I got even just a quick moment, I could take out Hans Gruber. But Mr. Joshua is not somebody to fuck with. Like, right. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Lethal Weapon on this.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I completely understand. So where are we at now coming into the last category?
Well, Lethal Weapon wins story, Die Hard wins setting, Lethal Weapon wins acting, Die Hard wins action, and now Lethal Weapon has got best villains. So
Lethal Weapon's up 3-2?
Yep.
All right, so we could have a potential tie.
We could have a potential tie, yeah, on Christmas 5. On Christmas 5. So...
Remember last Christmas with Home Alone and Christmas Vacation?
I know. We're going to end up in the same fucking situation, aren't we?
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Yeah. This is so unintentional. Just because I picked Lethal Weapon, this is rough because, I mean, it's so funny because everybody's so hung up on arguing whether or not Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Everybody completely forgets about Lethal Weapon, and here we are on the verge of having Lethal Weapon win.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
My wife, when we were watching this, she's like, "Man, there's 3 Christmas songs in this movie in Lethal Weapon."
Yeah,
like, yeah, man, there are. That's
100%. It's 100% a Christmas movie. So, shit. Well, I mean, here it is. Let's fucking do it, man. It's Christmas vibe. Kenny picks Die Hard.
Kenny picks Die Hard?
He picks Die Hard for Christmas vibe.
What do you have?
I didn't write anything down yet. I told you I didn't. I was winging this shit. I don't know.
To me, there's way more Christmas vibe in Die Hard than there is Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Like I just said, there were 3 Christmas songs in Lethal Weapon. There's 4 in Die Hard.
Oh shit! Well, he's got the numbers. Numbers matter, man.
You've got, and of course, you've got Beethoven's "Ode to Joy," which has kind of become a holiday type song in like all the commercials and everything. You've got all that symbolism that I was talking about. How you want me to go into that real quick?
Go right ahead.
So at the end of the movie, Hans Gruber is hanging there by Holly McClane's arm. He's got her by her Rolex that her boss had given her for having such a good year. And John McClane's hanging over the top of her, and he's pulling her back. He unclasps the watch, and Hans Gruber falls to his death. They chose family over material possessions.
Yeah.
So you can look at that as symbolism. Yeah. There's the whole deal, if you want to get into the savior thing with Sergeant Powell. He's someone who John McClane puts all of his faith and trust in, who he's never physically seen with his own eyes.
Yeah.
And the guy's talking him through when he's at his lowest there, when he's picking glass out of his feet, he's hey buddy, you're gonna make it, you're all right. And And no, I'm not going to tell your wife these last words that you want me to tell her. You're going to make it
yourself. Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, when Carl comes back, he pulls his gun after not shooting it for over a decade and kills Carl. A whole lot of symbolism as far as like a savior in that. I mean, I know that's borderline blasphemous, but there's all kinds of symbolism in this movie that you miss if you're just watching going, this is a dumb action movie. It is definitely not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. There's all that. There's him traveling to see his family. You know, there's the whole Nakatomi Christmas party thing, which most people, when you say Die Hard is a Christmas movie, that's their one argument. Oh, it takes place at a Christmas party. It's
more than that.
That's way more.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm glad you just broke that down. In fact, you just made a better case for the story of Die Hard than you probably even realize, and we all picked Lethal Weapon.
That's hilarious.
So you just made it even harder.
Yeah.
Like that is really good. We were sitting here talking about Murtaugh and Riggs' dynamic, and I mean, you forget like that.
Yeah.
It probably still is better, but
I think so.
But yeah, man, that was a really good scene. Picking glass when he's picking glass out of. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I think at this point, just because you guys have picked. But I'll agree with you on that. It's Die Hard. So I mean, here we are for the second damn year in a row on a Christmas versus tied.
The things we do for you people.
3-3. Yeah, it's all because I picked Lethal Weapon as best villains.
I knew this would happen when you did it because I figured Kenny was going Die Hard. Yeah.
Well, we got to figure out something here because there's got to be a winner. So I got to think if I could really settle on what I got to settle on here. I think story stays Lethal Weapon just barely. I think setting definitely stays Die Hard for sure. I think acting definitely is Lethal Weapon, and I think action is definitely Die Hard. Christmas 5, Die Hard. So it really comes down for me personally the best villains that I was so torn on. So, I mean, is everybody firm on their picks?
I mean, I am. The only thing when you're talking about how I just made a case for Die Hard as best story, I mean, that would be the only one, but I don't know that I could change it either because I love the story to Lethal Weapon and all those dynamics there as well.
Yeah. I think, it's just so they're just so different because the story involves much more than, you got Nakatomi Plaza, you've got obviously the terrorists or the thieves, and you've got McClane, you got his wife. There's so many different things going on in Die Hard. Where, Lethal Weapon, there's some stuff going on, but really it's just about these two and how different they are and how they come together. Like you said, you're talking about breaking racial barriers and all that stuff. Die Hard feels bigger.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think when you really look at it, Die Hard does feel a little bit bigger story-wise overall what's going on. But I think when you look at just the story between Riggs and Murtaugh, it's the best buddy cop movie and best dynamic, ever. So it really just comes down to preference. So, I don't know. And then, the villains thing I was torn on too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, I've got Lethal Weapon and best villains. Lethal Weapon for best villains and story. So I could really change either one of those, and it would break the tie for Die Hard.
Yeah. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to hurt me?
Give me time. Oh, yes, please. Godfather of Ramadi is in the house. Can other people join in this discussion? Yeah, absolutely. We're on a damn tie because I am torn. Please, please join in on the discussion for sure. What do you think? What do you think? We got their story, their setting, acting, action, best villains, Christmas 5, and I'll just catch you up if you haven't been here. Story, we went Lethal Weapon. We settled on Lethal Weapon. I think it's for me, I'm a little torn because I think Die Hard is really good story wise. It's much bigger than.
I think you can go either way.
Yeah, setting. We picked Die Hard. I think that is. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Acting, we did Lethal Weapon just because the dynamic between Riggs and Murtaugh. I think that we could probably stay. Even though there's a lot of good acting in Die Hard,
there was.
Action, we went Die Hard. Shadow Company is better than Hans Gruber? Question mark. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm torn. Andrew likes Lethal Weapon. He's sold on the Shadow Company. He's sold on the Shadow Company, and then the dynamic between Riggs and Murtaugh. I think overall. I mean, Die Hard's probably a little bit. I don't know.
You want to call it? I mean, I'm fine with that.
Let's give the Godfather a chance here. Let's see what he's got to say. I'm all for hearing him out. Give me a reason. I was also torn on best villains, by the way, too. We did a best villains category.
I think that's what he's talking about when he's asking, is Shadow Company better than Hans?
Oh, is that what you're talking about? The best villains?
Yeah. And I know you and Kenny both picked it because basically the Shadow Company, most importantly, Mr. Joshua is far more menacing. Right? Yeah,
Mr. Joshua is a psychopath.
Yeah.
But as I also mentioned earlier, Hans Gruber and his team are way more put together and way more in control.
Professional.
Of the situation, more professional. Where if I had to stand toe to toe with either one of those dudes, I would pick Hans Gruber over Joshua. But when you're talking about the situation, I wouldn't necessarily want to be the shit with the Shadow Company and Mr. Joshua. These two have gotten in the middle of not everyday people are getting in the middle of that shit. Hans Gruber and his team came to a Christmas party and took a bunch of innocent people hostage. You could easily find yourself in that position.
Yeah.
And that would not be a good position to be in, especially when you don't know if they're going to blow you away from one second to the next. And of course, we picked Die Hard for Christmas vibe. Andrew explained that very well, I thought.
Yeah, you'll have to go back about 10 minutes and watch that if you're just now joining. But yeah, I don't think there's any comparison. I mean, there's a good Christmas vibe in Lethal Weapon, like we said with Murtaugh and Riggs, and him coming into his family, into the fold as like a surrogate member. But there's Christmas vibe, out the cornhole with Die Hard. So
yeah. I'll give you that one for sure.
Yeah.
See, there was a theory. I've seen a fan theory about Carl Winslow being this like the same guy. Do you see that theory? I'm trying to think of what it was. But basically, it was like he'd killed his family, or he'd killed a kid on the force or whatever, and then he went to LA. He said he was like, he told the guy who was buying Twinkies, he told him he was married. It's for his wife. He didn't have a wedding ring on. And I don't know, basically he I think it was something in New York. It was in another movie, and I can't remember what it was now. I'm butchering this, but I'll have to let you know later. But
yeah,
then he goes back to LA. But and then so Carl Winslow in Chicago is basically a manifestation of his guilt. Where he, he's had such tragic shit happen to him his whole life. So everybody, his whole family that he's surrounded by in Family Matters is just made up because of his demons. And Steve Urkel represents the kid that he shot.
And yes, he did all that.
And he did all that.
That's great. I'll have to look into it.
It's an interesting theory. I'll send it to you if I can find it. Because I know I'm leaving plenty of stuff out.
But I think we're going to have to call this thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to. Are we gonna have to edge it to Die Hard, just to break this tie?
Mm,
I mean, that's the only way we can go because we have. I mean, if you guys are firm in your picks, it just comes down to those two categories for me that I was already kind of on the fence about anyway, and either one of those being changed is going to go Die Hard.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do.
Kenny's not changing, and I don't think I'm changing. So,
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you right now, Mr. Joshua is a little bit scarier, but overall villains, overall situation, Die Hard is where I was leaning anyway. But Kenny got me with the Mr. Joshua shit.
yeah.
I don't know. Let's see if Godfather was going to say anything more. Because I will. I'll call it Die Hard.
I think total Christmas package. I think Die Hard's there's a little bit more there, as far as Lethal Weapon is a pretty good Christmas movie, but there's a whole lot more to me in Die Hard. But I think story wise and character wise, I think Lethal Weapon it's driven a little more than what Die Hard is by those characters, by that story, and
Yeah.
I like that better in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I'll say it's a really good buddy cop movie.
I think we've outdid ourselves on the verses this time. Like, what do we do?
We find ourselves in these positions a lot, I feel like, but this is the goofiest fucking one I think yet. I mean, I don't know if I'd want a scarier situation, Kenny, but I just I feel like that's what my mind keeps coming back to. Like, you know, what situation are you going to find yourself in, or would you? I mean, if you're John McClane, you're the only guy. And, you know, at least Riggs and Murtaugh had each other. They had, but if you're Bruce Willis sitting in Nakatomi Plaza by yourself,
yeah,
trying to figure out how to thwart this team of professionals that, I mean, are very good at what they do, and I don't know, man. I think Die Hard, you have to kind of go Die Hard. I'm gonna talk myself into that. And I think Andrew's right. I think by the end of it, I think overall package Die Hard is a better, probably a little bit better of a movie, but also a better Christmas movie.
yeah. And I hate that we had to do that because I didn't think it would be this close. I knew my picks were that close, but I didn't think you guys would be kind of on the same level, you know, as far as holding them both in such high regard. But
yeah, I mean, Kenny was overwhelming with Die Hard. I mean, he picked Lethal twice, so I mean, he had more Die Hard than, and I think you went the opposite direction. I was just so torn on those two, but I don't know. So I didn't make a winner graphic, but I think
we got a winner.
Yippee ki yeah, yippee ki I think that's what we're gonna go with. Die Hard.
Yeah,
Die Hard's the winner.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I would have been happy with Lethal Weapon winning too. So
yeah, both really good movies. Like I said, it's amazing how close I put Lethal Weapon with Die Hard. When everybody out there always argues about Die Hard, whether Die Hard's a Christmas movie or not, and no one ever really talks about Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, but we made a strong case for it today.
Yeah, we sure did. How's everybody else doing out there today? Everybody doing okay? If anybody has any questions in the comments or concerns, let us know. Bring me in and I will speak my case. Just bring me in and I'll speak my case. Well, let's see. I'm almost tempted to do that.
What would you pick as far as the sequel? Die Hard 2 or Lethal Weapon 2? I think that was an easy one to me. But.
See you, Kenny. What was the question again, Andrew?
Lethal Weapon 2 or Die Hard 2? Not that I don't think Lethal Weapon 2 is a Christmas movie, but sequel for sequel.
Oh man, I do like Die Hard 2.
It's all right,
but
it's a definite step down where Lethal Weapon's a step sideways, I think.
Yeah. Tell you what, Godfather. I'll answer that in just a second. I'll tell you what, Godfather. Give me a way to send this link to you, and I'll let you explain. Give me a place. You got an email or a messenger or something? I think I would go Lethal Weapon too on that one.
I know I would.
I think Die Hard versus Lethal Weapon. I would probably pick Die Hard, but I think Die Hard 2, while I like it, is not as strong. Yeah, you can join the stream. I'll let you join the stream. I think I would go Lethal Weapon 2. I can make a stronger case for Lethal Weapon 2 than I can Die Hard 2. Because I watched Die Hard 2 actually not too long ago, and
it's solid.
It's solid, but it's not. I watched both of them not too long ago, and I enjoyed Lethal Weapon 2 way more.
Oh yeah,
way more. Yeah, I don't know how to get you in here other than sending you this link. So if you can find a way to, let's see, how can I? Maybe see if I can find a way to send this to you. Dare I put this in here? I'll just do it right here. I'll just dare do it right here. Do it right here.
We might have 6 people in here all of a sudden.
We might. We'll just get everybody in going. We only have some. Well, we can have we can have quite a few actually.
Yeah, up to 10 or something.
Yeah. See if that link will work for you.
What if we went? We should have just came up with another category on the fly. I feel like. Oh, hold on.
We probably should have, but mute Mike maybe. Sure. Can't unmute. Good. Okay, they just mute themselves. Okay, he's in. He's getting set up. Okay.
Hello, you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, Brandon. Good to see you, brother. Andrew.
You too, man.
What's going on?
How are you, buddy?
Let me start this off by prefacing I do not have a YouTube channel. I am not a movie reviewer. I love movies. I grew up with both movies, and I didn't really gain an appreciation for them until I became an adult.
Okay.
Outside of just, hey, this is cool, you know, good guys are killing bad guys, you know. That was because I was a child of the 80s and the 90s. So that's, you know, what I grew up watching. But no, Die Hard, I mean, it tells you in the very beginning, you know, I mean, John McClane says it. I got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? Yeah. So you know it takes place at Christmas.
Yeah.
And Hans Gruber and the terrorists or whatever, even though he says whoever said we were terrorists towards the end, had probably been planning that heist for years.
True.
You know, the task, organization, all that stuff going into it had probably been taken years to put into motion and to pull off. Now, Lethal Weapon, and John McClane was he was alone. John McClane was alone. I mean, yeah, he had, you know, Powell on the outside talking him through it, being, you know, the motivational and emotional support, you know, which is cool. But Riggs had Murtaugh or Murtaugh had Riggs, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But McClane was on his own, and you know, he was just the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he did whatever the hell he had to do to get through it because he was trying to get to his wife and get her out of there.
Yeah.
That was his sole motivation. Maybe not so much the rest of the employees at the Nakatomi Christmas party, but definitely his wife. Now, Riggs and Murtaugh, okay, you got one guy. They're both Vietnam veterans. Riggs knew about Shadow Company, but Riggs didn't know what Shadow Company was doing. And when they did the bank scene where, you know, Joshua pops that guy because he starts talking, he said, you know, ever since the war ended, we've been bringing it in twice a year, 2 major shipments a year, heroin. So that had been going on underneath the cops' noses since what, 1975?
Right.
Probably.
And it's 1987.
Yeah.
And the cops are just now figuring this out.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's cops for you.
So, but then, like I said, Riggs and Murtaugh, you know, I mean, they had to come together in order to survive.
Yeah.
John McClane didn't have to do that because he didn't have anybody else to lean on.
Yeah. He definitely took on which I mean, I guess the task for Murtaugh and Riggs was no easy one, but I feel like, you know, being outnunbered, being by yourself is definitely against a bunch of professionals is definitely
right. And Riggs, you know, saying, hey, you know, I did a guy at 19 when I was 19, you know, from 1,000 yards out. It was a rifle wind and high shot. And he's like, that's the only thing I was ever good at. So Riggs is a professional going up against other professionals. Murtaugh is not. He's a former soldier and he's a more senior police officer, but he's not a professional the way Riggs is. John McClane is just some dude from New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's only relying on whatever, you know, he learned growing up as a kid and whatever he experienced being on the street as a cop.
Yeah. That's a good point. Also a good point.
So, you know, McClane didn't have a martial arts background or a special forces background or, you know, a sniper background. He was just making this. Can I cuss? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
McClane was just making the shit up as he went along because he was doing whatever he had to do to get through it.
Yeah.
I do
like
the little bits of in the movie where you do see him doing some detective work, like in the beginning there when the guard lets him through and he's kind of making the security guy, and you notice is he wearing a piece or something? Yeah. There is a little police work done there. And
I mean, that's just good, in my opinion. That's just good situational awareness if you're walking into a strange environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, then when he's in the air or the air duct system, you know, and he's listening to their conversations and he's got the Sharpie and he's like, you know, making the tick marks and then crossing them out and then writing down names. So no, I mean, he was doing his own, you know, detective work and intelligence gathering, you know, to try to benefit himself and put himself a little bit ahead of the power curve. But I mean, again, at the end of the day, it was, you know, I don't remember how many of them there were.
Was there 12?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was 10. It was 10 plus. It had to have been at least 10 plus.
Yeah.
And, you know, he had no shoes on.
Shoot.
Making
that kills me.
When Riggs was getting electrocuted and interrogated, they took his shoes off, but somehow miraculously, when they escaped from the club, he had his shoes on because he chased a car down the road like a damn dog. When he broke the interrogator's neck, you know, and then freed himself, and then miraculously his shoes wound up back on because he rescued Murtaugh and his daughter. And he's like, let's get the flock out of here.
Yeah.
No, I love discussions like this because, but if I had to pick one, and yes, Lethal Weapon starts off in the very beginning, you know, when the beginning credits are rolling, Jingle Bell Rock by, I can't remember what the hell the guy's name is, but it's a real popular Everybody knows it. They've all heard it. Jingle Bell Rock. You know, you see Christmas decorations. When the Murtaugh's house gets, you know, attacked, you see the Christmas tree get taken out. And, you know, Rips, you know, gives him the hollow point 9mm bullet at the end with the little bow around it. You know, Merry Christmas. He'll know what it means. Yeah. Yes, it was a Christmas movie, but in terms of, but again, both, and again, I know it's a movie, and I know you guys are basing this off different categories, and I didn't catch that in the beginning because I came in kind of late. What's more believable? One guy in a high-rise building who's just making shit up as he goes along, or two clueless cops who are having to figure it out, being behind, you know, and then they still wind up getting lucky at the end.
I will say that I love that aspect of those buddy cop movies when they get in over their heads, you know, like this situation. I love that for movie purposes, but I think that Die Hard feels so much realer than Lethal Weapon does. Because I mean, you're not gonna, I mean, how often are you gonna find two detectives or two just cops just, you know, thwarting some fucking big James Bond type shit, you know what I mean?
Well, no, they're both detectives. And hell, Riggs, if you pay attention in the movie, and I'm sure you know this, Brandon, Riggs was transferred from narcotics to homicide.
Right.
So he was already a narc.
Yeah, he was already in on it a little bit, and he knew what was going on a little bit, or at least knew something was happening. Yeah.
Yeah, McClane, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Just detective, you know, Detective John McClane. I don't know what his background was in the NYPD, but all I'm saying is, you know, he's just some guy who, you know, showed up because he was invited there, and then shit happened, and he had to make shit up and make the best of the bad situation and try to live through it. I think that's more believable than Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more. I think it definitely, when you put it that way, I think it seems more interesting. It's a lot more interesting.
Like it could have happened to anyone. I like both stories as far as like in an 80s, you know,
action movie vibe.
Like this.
Well, no, entertainment wise, both stories are awesome. You know, I mean, I know Shane Black, and I don't know who else wrote Lethal Weapon. I know Shane Black was one of the screenwriters. I don't know who was the screenwriter for Die Hard, but I know Die Hard was based off of a book.
Yeah.
And then there was a movie from like the 60s that starred Frank Sinatra. And then Die Hard, the movie Die Hard is kind of like the unofficial sequel to that.
Okay. Because
Frank Sinatra did it back in the character, I'm sorry, let me back it up. The character in the book that McClane is based off, there was a movie made back in the 60s that had Frank Sinatra, and then they expanded on that from that book into John McClane.
Okay.
So Riggs and Murtaugh were, you know, they made them up for that movie. But no, I mean, I love both movies. They're both entertaining. You know, like I said, as an adult, I appreciate them so much more because you watch it a different way. It affects you in a different way. It kind of reaches out and grabs you by the boo-boo at certain points in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellis getting it there.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellis. Fuck that guy, man. I'm glad he got smoked.
Yeah, aren't we all?
I don't think anybody shed any tears for Ellis.
No, I don't think so either. No.
I shed more tears over Mr. Takagi getting smoked than Ellis. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I'd hate to ruin your suit.
Yeah.
And McClane, man, he tried. He's like, shut up, man. Shut up. And he just, you know.
Yeah, shut up, man. Yeah.
Too much coke and too much blow and too much arrogance.
Yeah.
But I'm actually like you. I was a child of the 80s and 90s, and I didn't appreciate these until probably in my mid 30s, honestly.
Right.
And
because you don't notice all the little nuances and intro, and you know, you don't get all that good stuff as a child.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm surprised that our parents let us watch stuff like that, but they did.
Yeah.
You know, they took me to the video store and we'd walk into the R-rated movie section. Oh, there's Die Hard. There's Lethal Weapon. Sure, let's rent that, son. We'll go home and watch that on a Saturday night as a family.
Yeah. I think I was showing my son Predator at 9 or something. Yeah. There's probably some parental group out there.
So Predator is required man viewing. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
I agree. I mean, we went to the beach when I was like 6, and I know I'd watched Jaws by then because I was terrified of the ocean, so that was way too young. I mean, I watched Jaws by then. I watched Terminator 2 by then, watching him cut up his arm and rip his damn arm skin off. Like, it was.
Terminator 2. I can remember going and watch that in the theater. T2.
Yeah. T2,
I can remember T1.
I might be a little bit older than you guys. I don't know. I'm on the other end of 40.
Yeah. Oh, so is Andrew.
Hey, I'm in my mids.
No, he's in his mid 40s. No, I'm still mid 30s. So but I didn't get to experience those Terminators in theater. I did actually go see Terminator 2 in theater. I think they re-released it on 3D or something like that a few years ago, and I went and watched it then.
And that's a discussion we want to get into because I'm a huge T1 fan. I love T2, but I'm so pro T1, and Brandon's so pro T2. But they're so different; they're hard to compare.
Yeah. So we can't really do. We want to do a versus, but we can't do a versus because they're actually they're so similar, but they're also so different.
Well, no, it's almost the same. It's almost the same story.
Yeah.
Just the roles are reversed.
Yeah. Right.
You know, in the beginning, and I don't even think people hated Arnold Schwarzenegger in the original Terminator because he was just the Terminator. You didn't feel anything about him. He was just, I don't think you could even call him evil or the villain. He was just sent there to do a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be this horror movie. Right, because he was just supposed to be this, unfeeling, it's like Reese said, doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear or pain, and it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead.
Right.
And that's what he put out there, on the screen.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, then when, James Cameron was like, again, he tweaked it and flipped the script. It's like, oh, well, now he was reprogrammed. A different T-800 was reprogrammed, and sent back because it's not the same T-800. No. It's a different T-800 that was reprogrammed and sent back to fulfill a different function.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I liken that first Terminator to my boy right here, Michael Myers. It's very very similar in style.
Just Cyberpunk Halloween, baby.
Yeah, Cyberpunk Halloween. That's exactly what Terminator is. Love it.
Oh no, Mike. I mean, and I know, man. I found you, Brandon. Smith Grove Sanitarium. Because of your, you did the review on Halloween movies, which I really really dug. And you didn't pull no punches. And I know we might be getting a little bit off topic here, but you didn't pull no punches, and you were very honest.
Yeah.
And I think Halloween 2, and then the David Gordon Green trilogy, if that's even what you want to call it.
The Halloween trilogy. That's what I call it.
Yeah, man, I give all the credit in the world to James Jude Courtney. He took that ball and he ran with it and he made it his own.
Yeah.
And in terms of again, you got to think about the time when it takes place. What, 2018?
Yeah.
Audiences want to see something different in 2018 versus 1978.
Right.
But I think he still tried. I think James Jude Courtney still tried to pay homage and honor what Nick Castle did.
Yeah,
and I think that he just took it and improved on it because I think people wanted to see a more vicious, savage Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I get it. You know, he stalks, he creeps, he's in the shadows. You know, he's that little thing. You know, in the back of your mind or nipping at the back of your neck, and you turn around and he's gone. I get all that. But at the end of the day, he's going to fucking kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not going to show mercy. And there's not going to be no quarter, and you're going to die, and it's going to be violent, and it's going to be painful, and if you're lucky, it'll be quick.
Yeah, right. I mean, that is one thing that I really appreciate about the new trilogy. As much as I've shit on it, James Jude Courtney and his Michael is 100% the best part of that trilogy to me.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
For sure, it's all the problems it has and all the problems I've talked about. I still think that, but yeah, he is 100% without a shadow of doubt the best part of those movies.
Well, no, and I love the Halloween franchise. I do. Too. Even the shit movies.
Me too.
And I'll even go out on a limb here and say I'll watch the Rob Zombie Halloweens. If the mood catches me right.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to get into a fist fight with somebody over trying to defend it, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I like I said, I can make an argument. I've made arguments for all of them. I've made arguments against them. I fully recognize the shit show that they are or can be, but I still love them. I thought Taylor Maine is it Tyler or Taylor? Tyler. Yeah, Tyler. I thought Tyler Maine. For what he was asked to do, I thought it was awesome. Yeah. And I respect when people say it's that he might be their Michael or the scariest Michael because he was so big, and I don't really like that personally from a movie standpoint. But I get that he is a menacing dude. I mean, in real life, if I came across that dude, I would shit my pants. So I mean,
right.
I mean,
well, no, but
I'm not a small guy. Like I'm not a small guy either. But at the same time, it's like, if I have the opportunity to run away from some guy that's damn near 7 feet tall and probably pushing 300 pounds, yeah,
I'll take my leave and maybe fight another day.
It's right. Yeah, I will gladly take my leave.
Yeah, turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, this space is yours, brother. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You can have Haddonfield. I'll fucking move, man. I'll move.
Right. Yeah. I got no problem sliding off to the side. It doesn't hurt my feelings in the least.
That's right. Yeah, I'm getting too old for this shit.
But I'm sorry. I kind of started rambling and we kind of got off track.
That's okay. That's all right, man. That's what we do.
No, man. I think
get used to it. If you watch this, you'll be
when
used
you talk
to
to Brandon, there's a 30% chance you're going to end up talking about Halloween anyway. So
maybe
but that's cool. But that's cool that Smith Grove Sanitarium, primarily a horror Halloween channel, but then he can he's not a one-trick pony, so I like that.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, we did Macho Movie Madness for years, and then we stopped, and then we came back, and then that's when Andrew and I both decided to do our own things too, when the group couldn't get together because scheduling, and so that's kind of how that all came to be. So I'm like, well, I'm going to focus on the shit that I love, and he's going to focus on the shit he loves, and then we can come together like this.
Yeah, well, Brandon, I just recently came across your channel this year.
Yeah.
And I'm just a channel subscriber. So, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for including me on this. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, buddy. Man, I appreciate you being a subscriber. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
Especially, and honestly, we might do. I'll talk to Andrew about. We might do this more often if we ever come across these situations where we got to have tiebreakers like this because we get ourselves in a fucking bind. Then we might bring some people in to have discussions with them.
Well, no, but okay. So, what break real quick? Just break down the categories again of how you were making this decision.
So we normally have very similar categories for all of our verses, and like usually it's like in this one we might change up a couple things depending on the type of movie they are. But this one usually we have 5. This time we end up with 6. But Story is always one, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Setting is always one, usually. Acting, and then like for action movies, we'll do action. What has the better action? So we went action this time, and then we decided to add a couple more because of the Christmas spirit. We did Christmas vibe, and we did best villains.
Okay.
Categories.
Story, I think Die Hard has the better story. Setting, they both take place in LA. Because Riggs and Murtaugh are both LA police detectives. Nakatomi Plaza
is LA, yeah.
Is in LA.
It's in LA.
Characters, I got to go with Riggs and Murtaugh just because of their dynamic.
Yeah.
Because they're together throughout the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah, learning to accept each other for their
right. McClane is alone, so he doesn't get to have that luxury, or he doesn't get to have that, where Murtaugh is trying to reel Riggs in. Nobody's reeling McClane in, because he even tells was it the deputy chief? He's like, Glass, who gives a shit about Glass? I'm not the one that just got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne. Because he's alone.
Yeah.
He's alone. He's got to try to psych himself up and keep himself in the fight. Right. So he doesn't have the luxury of trying to lean on somebody else.
And see, my thinking towards setting and why I picked Die Hard, why we all picked Die Hard on settings, but even though they're both in LA, that Nakatomi Plaza was just
he's in a fucking building.
It's in a building, but it's so unique and it's so special. Right, exactly.
He's in a fucking building that he can't get out of. You ever seen Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't fight in a fucking basement.
That's right. But I told them, I said, if we were matching up setting, like which we did a Lethal Weapon 1 versus Lethal Weapon 2 actually not that long ago. If we were matching up settings in those movies, I would be happy to discuss all the various different settings and the uniqueness of those in the movies. But this one's a little bit different because Nakatomi is just so unique and so special. It's hard not to pick Die Hard in that situation.
Right. No, you're in a building, you're in a high-rise building, and you got nowhere to go.
Right. And it's
you got literally nowhere to go.
Right.
I mean, unless you want to take, that great big swan dive.
I always thought it was weird in that movie how he's firing a machine gun on the roof and no one heard him. Like when he's calling out. I just, that's the one part of the movie that makes me kind of.
What do you mean no one heard it?
Like whenever he's calling the cops. And
they heard it because you saw them rip their headsets out.
Well, this is when he's talking. The people in the call center.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the people out on the street.
Well, no, he wasn't the one firing the machine gun. He was the one getting shot at. When he was like, "No shit, lady, does it sound like I'm ordering a pizza?"
I may be thinking at the end where he's firing the gun when the helicopter's.
No, when he's trying to get them off the roof because he knows it's wired to blow. Yeah, no, he was trying to get them to go back inside to get them off the roof because he knew that the roof was wired to blow. Cops wouldn't have heard that.
See,
I don't know.
That's another
30-story building with everything else that's going on. I don't know because it was like an MP5. It was a little submachine gun. It was like a 9mm. I don't know if they would have heard that or not.
Yeah,
hard to say.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a military veteran, and sometimes I critique kind of hard and I overthink things.
Yeah.
So
that's another reason why I'd like Hans Gruber as the villain too, because as we said earlier, he was going to take all those guys up on the roof and then blow it.
Yeah.
What's that?
He doesn't get his hands dirty, but yeah, he was gonna. That's mass homicide right there.
Yeah, Hans Gruber. Yeah.
No, bringing them all up to the roof because they were supposed to get evacuated.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the roof still wound up blowing, but McClane got everybody off of it, right. And the only thing that it took out was the chopper with the two agents, FBI agents, Johnson and Johnson, no relation.
Big Johnson and Little Johnson.
So what do you think? What do you think the best villains are?
I can do movie quotes. I don't know a whole lot, but I know certain movies that I can damn near quote by heart, line for line.
Oh, well, then that's basically me. I don't know shit about fuck, but I can sure quote a movie.
Yeah.
Sing a song. What do you think the best villain is? You think Mr. Joshua or Hans Gruber?
That's the one right there that we had the hardest trouble with.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Joshua, Gary Busey. I love Gary Busey.
Dude, I do too.
Crazy fucker.
I know, right?
And he's from Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. So, in terms of, because just physical, the good guy actually bringing down the bad guy, in a one-on-one confrontation, because that's what Riggs did. He got to get his hands on him. They had previous history, or at least that's what's implied, is that they have previous history from probably Vietnam.
Right.
And they basically essentially fight to the death in Murtaugh's front yard, which is cool.
Yeah.
If you just want to see somebody get their ass whooped. John McClane and Hans Gruber, it was a battle of wits, and apparently, supposedly McClane's not supposed to be that smart, because he's just some schmuck New York City police detective, who got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. So who the hell is this guy, to outthink me, to outmaneuver me, to, when they're, having that scene where he goes, "What's your name?" And he's like, his accent changes immediately. And Alan Rickman is British. And he was like able to do an American accent flawlessly and come up with a name that he looked up as like, okay, there, I see that name. And then he offered him a cigarette.
Yeah.
But what busted him was the way that he smoked the cigarette. And then he heard him, when they turned their back to each other and they started to walk away, he heard him talk into the walkie-talkie in German or whatever. And that's when he knew he was full of shit. So McClane and Gruber, it was more of a psychological battle of wits, not so much physical, because I don't think McClane ever laid a hand on Hans until he threw him out the window, and he didn't even really throw him out the window.
That's a good point. I like that. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a good way to put it. Good way to put it.
But I mean, I guess it just depends on what your idea of entertainment is.
That's true too. Well, let's say there's no question that we absolutely love both of these movies, and they're both great movies. So, yeah. But that's why I think these discussions and these verses are always so fun or unique to us, because we try to come up with this, just what.
But then, okay, we're gonna go into sequel territory. Remember, in Lethal Weapon 2, nobody from Shadow Company came after Riggs or Murtaugh. In Die Hard with a Vengeance, Hans Gruber's brother came after John McClane.
That's a good point too. Yeah, I like that.
And that was his sole goal, was to come after John McClane.
Yeah.
Because he's like, not liking one's brother. There's a difference between not liking one's brother and not caring when some Irish flatfoot throws him out of a 30-story fucking building.
Die Hard 3 is kind of an anomaly, man. Like, usually by the time you get to the third film, they're usually on the way down. Die Hard 3 is probably the second best Die Hard movie. When you look at the grand scheme of
I think Die Hard with a Vengeance was better than actual Die Hard 2.
Oh yeah, I do too.
Because it was just Die Hard 2 was basically Die Hard but in a fucking airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the Buffalo.
That's why, because I watched it when I watched it the first time several years ago. I remember loving it. But I think I mentioned earlier, I'd watched Lethal Weapon 2 and Die Hard 2 not too long ago, and just remember Die Hard 2 wasn't as fun as I remembered the first time. It was good. But I had way more fun with Lethal Weapon 2. So like I said, I told Andrew earlier, I don't know if you caught it, you might have come in late, but if this was a conversation between those two movies, it would go a lot differently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Lethal Weapon 2 is a very strong sequel. It's a good movie.
No, I think Lethal, and I mean, not, because I know when the Lethal Weapon sequels started to come out, they started inserting, political and social messages into it, but whatever. Richard Donner's an amazing director. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover as Riggs and Murtaugh, it just gets better the more they do it, because it's like a comfortable old sweatshirt seeing them do that.
Yeah. It's meant for it. They were meant for those movies.
But Die Hard 2, it was again, you don't notice it. I didn't notice it as a kid. As an adult, it jumps out of my TV at me if I watch it. Just the way McClane is, his attitude, his swagger. Again, he's alone. He's alone. He has no emotional outside support. Everyone's against him. The airport authorities are against him. The airport police are against him. Hell, when the military shows up, they're fucking against him.
Yeah.
So he basically has to go at it alone.
Again.
And this time he can move around, and be in different areas and different situations, and put himself in different positions to where he might have the tactical advantage. But I don't know. It
definitely makes it feel so much different.
The first Die Hard to me, as an adult watching it, the first Die Hard to me was more believable than watching the second Die Hard.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Because okay, you're gonna strap yourself into the pilot seat of a parked aircraft and pull the fucking ejection lever, and you're gonna get ejected out of the fucking plane when 3 or 4 grenades are rolled in there. Go fuck yourself.
I think they drew that up on a storyboard and this is going to look really cool. Let's put this
right. And it didn't look. And it didn't. It looked fake as fuck. But
we love Die Hard 2. We actually, if you want to go back, we did a Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon 1 versus Lethal Weapon 2 is here on Macho, so be sure and check that one.
Lethal Weapon 2. The whole South Africa apartheid, whatever. I mean, it fit the story.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just as strong as the first one. The movie's just about as strong as the first one for sure.
Yeah. Well, no, and then they brought Joe Pesci into it.
Right.
Which I thought, again, as a kid, you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. But then as you watch it as an adult, you're like, okay, well, he's being brought in. They fuck with him, they put him down. They kind of try to brush him off, but he kind of. And I'm not gonna say he was the glue that held them together, but he was just another ingredient that was added to make it better. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. What's up, Maestro? How's it going, man?
Hush. Sorry, I got dogs.
You're good, man. Maestro Megatron's in the house. Appreciate you stopping in, buddy. Good to see you.
Do I need to jump out of here so somebody else can come in and talk?
Well, we're getting ready to wrap it up here in just a minute, man. You're good. So we're just gonna.
Okay.
So if you got anything else you want to say? You got any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Yeah, you got any questions you want to ask us or anything like that?
No, I don't know if I settled the debate or not. I don't know.
I think you did. I think you did.
I think about the time you came in, we pretty much decided on Die Hard anyway to break the tie.
Yeah, but you solidified it more for me. I think you did a good
job. No, man, I think across the board. I mean, even though there's holes you can poke in Die Hard and things you can pick at. I think just in terms of entertainment value, story, character, I think Die Hard is the better film.
Yeah.
But I would not turn down the opportunity to watch either movie and drop whatever I was doing if I saw either one of them on TV.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Even if it was edited for television, I'd still watch it because I know what's really going on.
Right.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
What'd you say?
Is it Yippee Ki Hey, Mr. Falcon?
Oh yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you stopping in and talking to us.
Well, yeah, hey man, Brandon, Andrew, man, thanks for letting me come in. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We'll have to do it again sometime. We might have to bring some people in too, just to give us some tiebreaker knowledge.
Well, man, I'm not, like I said, man, I'm not the end all be all. I just have an opinion.
Yeah, no, but you know what? I appreciate you coming in and being willing to do that. You know, this was something we just kind of did on a whim today anyway. And so yeah, we appreciate it. And it was good. It was good discussing shit with you too.
You want to do T1, T2? I'm there.
Okay. Well, I don't know how we're going to do it, but man, I mean, even if we just have to talk about it, we will. We can do that
after Christmas, because I don't want people to think, oh, it's a Christmas movie. No, it's not.
No, we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
John Connor was the gift to mankind.
Yeah. Till he got taken out on a beach in what was it, Dark Fate?
Yeah, yes. by a guy who sold drapes.
Yeah. By a guy who ended up selling drapes. Oh boy. All right, brother. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here in a second. So I appreciate you stopping in.
All right. Well, hey man, like I said, man, thanks again for letting me come in.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. It was good talking with you all.
Yep. All right, man. Catch you later. Okay.
Right. Take her out.
Let's see.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was good. I'm glad he stopped in. Get him out of here real quick. From studio. Oh, he's good. Okay. All right, get him out of there. All right. So, yes, thank you so much again, Godfather, for stopping in. That was awesome. That was once again just a choice I made on a whim too, just to
like, Brandon, what are you getting us into? But that was a pretty good.
Let's just fucking do it, man. Let's just go with it. We'll roll with it, man. It's good talk. It's good talking to him. I'm glad he stopped in. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that just gives us an episode for the day. So Die Hard is our clear winner. Like I said, I didn't make any graphics for it, but everybody's got the gist, I think, by now. If you made it this far, Die Hard is our winner. It's obviously a little bit better, probably. I think it's a little bit better of a film, and it's definitely a little bit better of a Christmas film. But as Godfather even put there at the end perfectly, can't pass up an opportunity to watch either one of them. They're both amazing, even the TV edited versions.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for us today. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you if you're joining us for Macho Movie Madness, thank you so much. If you're here for Drew Reviews or Smith's Grove Sanitarium, once again, thank you so much. Andrew, what do you got coming down the pike?
Oh, I got a bunch of stuff by the time this comes out. I'm covering Extraction 2 with Chris Hemsworth. That's coming out. Time Bomb with Michael Biehn. We're talking Terminator. There's a little B movie for you that's a lot of fun. I think I compared it to, if you take the Bourne Identity and Total Recall and ordered it from Wish, you get Time Bomb.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got those coming up. Maybe some more Dolph Lundgren. We'll see.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
What
deal.
You got?
Well, see, for Macho, we're gonna have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 versus 2. Actually, we're gonna do a versus on that. And then obviously, I don't know if that'll be before or after this. We haven't decided just yet. It's ready to go, so we might just drop it. But we'll be releasing that, and obviously this, and we'll be talking some wrestling on our wrestling channel at some point here real soon. And for me at Smith's Grove, I'm about ready to. Been going through a lot of crap with work and everything else, so I've taken a little bit of break, obviously with the holidays. But I'm about to get back in full swing on that. So if you're seeing this beforehand, I will be rolling real soon with Friday the 13th Part 3. So I'm excited about that. I love that movie.
That's a fun
movie. The dawn of the hockey mask Jason, and of course all the crazy 3D shit.
And everybody's favorite person in any of those movies, Shelley.
Shelley, yeah, absolutely. Shelley, the best. He just wants people to like him.
Right. Yeah.
So can't blame a guy for that.
We'll try hard.
We'll try hard. So, all right. Well, guys, thank you once again for joining us. And as always, I'm Brandon. That's Andrew. And we'll see you down the line.